pull a stream of high moisture from the tropics, which is known as an atmospheric river. So here we go, little meteorology for you. High moisture from the tropics, which is known as an atmospheric river. So there is the title for you, if you were wondering. It sounds ominous, doesn't it? It sounds kind of scary, but we get them. And as a result, Oregon, northern and central California will be hit by a powerful storm today, which is expected to linger until Saturday. So the atmospheric rivers has relatively long, narrow regions in the atmosphere like rivers in the sky that transport moisture, and then most of the water vapors outside of the tropics. And in this instance, the river in the sky stretches 5,000 miles and has stunned meteorologists, according to the Washington Post. So it's kind of a big story and a big system that is going to be dumping a lot of rain. So hopefully they take cover and prepare themselves for it. We've seen what water can do, certainly here in Florida just recently with Irma and Marie. And, wow, in Texas, Puerto Rico, you know the story. Not good. Celebrity chef Jose Andres, have you seen him on television? He's, man, he makes me hungry. But he arrived in Puerto Rico and has fed more Hurricane Maria survivors or Irma survivors than the American Red Cross through his World Central Kitchen nonprofit. I was reading an article in the Washington Post, and Andreas, known for his award-winning restaurants in Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles, traveled to Puerto Rico to help organize hundreds of volunteers with his chef Enrique, Jose Enrique, to start feeding residents hurting from the hurricane. I mean, what could be better than some nice, delicious food to make you feel better? Man, food can do that. I'm telling you, you can have a rough week. And a lot of us, we're working hard. I mean, we work hard for our money. But some good food, man. And especially if you've gone through a nice, destructive hurricane, and it wasn't nothing nice about it, but devastating. But food seems to be just filling those cracks in the soul. The Post said that the chef started making stew to feed 1,000 to 2,000 people, but now are serving 25,000 meals a day, including sandwiches. And Pela, as of Tuesday, Andreas has helped deliver 1 million meals to residents compared to the 540,000 distributed by the Red Cross. He says, when we establish contact with a community, we maintain that contact. Andreas told the Washington Post, when we go to a place, we take care of that place until we feed it and it has the right conditions to sustain itself. That's what a relief organization should be. Last Friday, volunteers from the World Central Kitchen delivered food door to door, and Loza sent food trucks to Vega Alta and set up a Pila pop-up in another city to serve up to 5,000 people, according to Eater.com. And in April, Andreas, Think Food Group settled, because we just talked about Seattle, a 2-year legal dispute with the Trump organization when he backed out of opening a restaurant at a Trump hotel in downtown Washington, D.C. We remember that. So there was a feud. To me, if he's doing a good deed like this, politics aside, seriously, politics aside, who had to point that out? The Washington Post about the feud that they had about the restaurant and disagreements. I'm happy that people are being fed. If the Red Cross can learn something about distributing people, I just never thought it was quite the mission to cook up really the yummiest food out there. So I just think it's a labor of love. It's a beautiful thing that he's doing with the celebrity chefs. They can do it. They have the money to do it. They have the support to do it, and also able to fix foods that are culturally acceptable. Okay, and let's leave it at that. I think it's very nice, great gesture of love. It's nice when, seriously, It's nice when you could talk about other things besides politics. And food is one of those things that all of us enjoy, don't we? We don't have to talk about politics. There's so many other things that you can talk about besides it, but this is the program, you know you're going to get it. So whenever I have an opportunity to highlight something like that, I will. And congratulations to all the work that they're doing and bringing people really good food and people to enjoy themselves, relax a little bit. It was a heavy pill to swallow. And when you got some really tasty food around you, it just makes everything, it gives you hope. It makes you feel good. If you can go ahead and clean up a little bit more when you got your belly filled with some good stuff, it's good for the soul. You've heard of soul food. Well, good food is just like that. The former CIA director, John Brennan, tweaked President Donald Trump. He likes to do that on today, claiming that the author of The Art of the Deal, which is Donald Trump, in his opinion, is dealing recklessly with dictators and is pushing the world to war. He says, I think he's trying to demonstrate that he's tough, and he's trying to intimidate opponents. But at the same time, he is not experienced at all in international brinkmanship of these issues, Brennan said on NBC's Today Show. Here is the establishment for you. That is the consensus of the establishment. That's the establishment conference. We know better. He does not have the diplomacy. He does not have the brinkmanship of others before him. He is a rookie. He does not know how to deal with these people. And we have done such a marvelous job all these years to be able to quiet, to be able to stop. Excuse me, you idiot. Brennan, you don't have a clue. If you were listening to the first segment of the broadcast, you learned about the stupid uranium deal, and that's from the establishment of the DNC for NBC News. They didn't break that story that the uranium, at least over half of our uranium is being controlled by Russia. That was a deal made under Obama and Clinton. Thank you. But you know better. You know better. Tough talk is needed because that's the same kind of talk and rhetoric that has been coming out of that region for too many decades and has emboldened them because we've done nothing. There was a time when we used our stick and people respected our stick. We didn't want to use it, but we could, and we did. That's how we won wars. Let's go to Bunker Hill. Shall we? Let's revisit how America bailed out Germany, how we fought World War I, World War II. It wasn't by weak words. It wasn't sitting idly allowing our enemies, when we saw wrongdoing, we took it in our hands and we did something about it. We didn't take it lying down. That's when men were men. Yes, women were women. Remember, it's the women that kept the war machine going. I love watching those old black and white films to show the women in the factories. Now, I'm not talking about sewing stuff because they were doing that too. But they were making the bombs. They were making the ammunition. They were making the parts for the planes. They won the war. If it wasn't for one, that's the men went to war. And we won wars, didn't we? So we won our freedoms, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget. So this critique on Donald Trump is the critique of the establishment. He's just echoing what others are saying along with John Brennan. We've been heading this direction for some time. So if anybody's worried about war with North Korea, should have been worried a long time ago. It's just something hasn't been settled for so long. We're still under an armistice, and it is still under the state of war. They are not to be trusted with anything to be blasted into outer space that could be hostile towards the United States or anybody. They should not be trusted because they have not proved themselves to be trusted. Ronald Reagan would always say, trust but verify. Our verification satellite imagery. Just like Iran, we're seeing that they don't let us to see the uranium that they're using, how they're using it. It's not just going into their nuclear reactors. They're making bombs. They're consulting the North. They're funding terrorism. That's why these deals are not good. That's why you have to use tough talk when you have tyrannical leaders. That's all they understand. Tough talk is necessary. You know, there's something when you go into the boxing rink that there's junk talk that's being talked. You don't just say, "Oh, I'm enjoying this fight so much. I'm so envious." You don't do that. There's junk talk that's talked. So you're trying to break down the psychological part of the brain to intimidate as much as you possibly can. Diplomacy has not worked. It's not been working. The guy's not taking the fuel. He's not taking the message, not taking the cues. We've been kicking the can down for way too long, and there's not any other place to kick it anymore. Because the can now is a missile. We've gone from kicking the can into an ICBM. And at ICBM, they can carry a nuke. An ICBM. They can carry a pulse into our atmosphere. They can put us in the dark, like Ted Koppel said, lights out. He's already threatened to use it, already said he would. And more rhetoric out of the North that he would annihilate us. And he's got the capability of doing it. And just watch out, America. I don't know when it's going to happen, but something's going to have to be done because he'll do something stupid. I think he knows that his time is short. Just like Saddam Hussein learned that his time was short. But this time, it's different. The world wants to see if America will lead again. Will America actually use its muscle with its allies? Will they just be rhetoric? Will they actually mean action? This is a testing for America again, and for the world. But who's really watching all of this more than Russia is Iran and North Korea, then Russia. China's already said that they're all for the sanctions now. They don't want war because they don't want an influx of immigrants into their country. They already got a lot of people. They don't know what to do with more people. They don't know what to do with them. That's what they're worried about. We don't want refugees. We don't want that problem. They wanted to handle it, but they clearly see it's not working. Everybody's tried. This guy doesn't want to play ball, doesn't want to play nice. And when Warmbier came back in the state that he did, they did something to him so evil, so whatever hell that he lived on earth before he left, only he took to the grave. But we saw what they're capable of doing. We see what their mindset is. And it's a mindset of death and destruction. Not liberty and justice for all, as we say here. That's not their credo, folks. Not everybody sings that credo. Not everybody, there's people that'll take a knee, though, won't they? They won't even say our Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, my dear friends. Yeah, Roger Goodell pretty much said that he's not going to penalize any of the NFL players if they decide to take a knee. He's not going to encourage it, but he's not going to fine them. He's going to allow them